Today we're going to talk about measurement, the customary system and the metric system. You've probably heard of a lot of these things when you're out shopping or when you're with your parents or baking, but being able to take it from one unit to the next unit and converting them, that's kind of where we have our issue with measurement. So to start with, we're just going to look at the basic facts that we need to know about the customary system, and then we're going to look at the basic facts that we need to know about the... All right, so let's start with the customary system of length. We have inches, we have feet, we have yards, we have miles. Now, if we're talking about inches, an inch is about the distance from the edge of your finger to the knuckle. So that would be about 1 inch. And we know that there's how many inches in 1 foot? We should know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Next, we've got a foot. A foot is 12 inches, like we said. A foot is about this long. Trying to think of a good measurement for you. Your foot is about 1 foot long for some of us. Now, granted, that's going to change, but I don't want you to think that a foot is this really big measurement, and it's not this really tiny measurement either. So if we have 1 foot, our foot then goes into a yard, and there are 3 feet in 1 yard. All right, so we've got 3 feet in a yard. A yard is about the length of a baseball bat. That's an estimate. It's not exactly the length of a baseball bat. Then we have the longest unit of length that we use with the customary system, and that is a mile. So let's go back and talk about how many yards are in a mile and then how many feet are in a mile. So there's 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And if we're going to take that and determine how many yards there are in 1 mile, you're going to have to figure... So we needed to go back and look at there are 3 feet in 1 yard. And if there's 3 feet in 1 yard, then I can take 5,280 and I can divide that by 3 feet to figure out exactly how many yards there are in a mile. And there are 1,760 yards in 1 mile. Now we're going to go into weight and mass. When you were born, you probably weighed so many pounds and ounces. The smallest unit of capacity of weight is ounces. Then we have pounds. And from pounds, then we have tons. So there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. And there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. Now let's go into liquid capacity. The smallest unit here is fluid ounces. Then fluid ounces goes to cups, cups goes to pints, pints goes to quarts, and we finish up with gallons. There are 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup. There are 2 cups in 1 pint. There are 2 pints in 1 quart, and there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So another way, this is the Snyder cheesy way, I call it the big G. My G represents gallon. This is just a good picture so that you can remember these exact units of measure. There are 4 quarts. Notice I'm drawing 4 Q's for quarts. 4 quarts inside the G for the gallon. Inside each quart there are 2 pints. So I'm going to draw 2 P's within each of these quarts. And then you can easily look and see I have 2, 4, 6, 8 pints in a gallon. You could also say I have 4 pints in half a gallon. And then my smaller unit is a cup, and there we said are 2 cups in a pint. So I'm going to put 2 C's in each of my P's because there's 2 cups in every pint. And then you can have a great visual to determine that there are 2 cups in a pint, there are 4 cups in a quart, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 cups in a gallon, and you can use this to help you determine some conversions when we get to that in a minute. Now we're going to talk about the metric system. The metric system is really cool because it's based on units of 10. So as you travel up the units and down the units in the in the metric system, you just have to multiply by 10 or 100 or 1,000, or you just have to divide by 10 or 100 or 1,000. So if you've watched the Brain Pop in class, you saw that King Henry died drinking chocolate milk. And that just helps us to remember the step system for our conversions. So my prefix kilo is K. H, this is also King. Henry died. And then here I put my base units, and we'll talk about what those are in just a second. But King Henry died drinking chocolate milk is an easy way that you can remember the steps. Kilo, hecto, deca. My base units, I measure my metric system of weight in grams. And 1 gram is about the size of a paperclip. Liters is my unit for liquids. You're familiar with a 2-liter bottle of soda. Half of that would be 1 liter. And meters is my unit of length in the metric system. So those are my base units. D for drinking is deci. C is centi. And M is milli. And like I said a minute ago, as you travel to the left, up, you're going to divide by a unit of 10. And as you travel down the steps, you're going to multiply by a unit of 10. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. All right, so in any system of measurement, when you're converting, if you're going from a small unit to a big unit, that makes the divide line for division. So a small unit to a big unit, you're going to divide. And if you're going from a big unit to a small unit, you're going to multiply. So a little bit of a Snyder cheesy way is a small to big, you divide. Big to small, you multiply. So in our notes, we're going to put small to big, you divide. Big to small, you multiply. Okay, so I've got 4.5 meters, changing it to centimeters. Want to go back and reference my steps, finding my meters right here, and I'm moving to the right on my steps, and I move 2 steps, which means that I'm going to multiply by 100. 100 has 2 zeros, so 4.5 meters to centimeters moves that decimal 2 places to the right, so I have 450 centimeters. Going back to inches, inches to feet is a small unit going to a bigger unit, so I'm going to divide by however many inches there are in a foot, which is 12. 60 divided by 12 is 5 feet. Going back to feet to yard, so I'm starting with a small unit and I'm going to a big unit. I'm dividing again by, there's how many feet in a yard? There are 3. So 27 divided by 3 gives me 9 yards. Going back to my steps, I'm going 16 meters, and this time I'm moving to millimeters, which would be down here, which is 1, 2, 3 to the right, which means I'm going to multiply this by 1,000, which means I move the decimal 1, 2, 3 to the right, and I get 160 millimeters. Pints to cups. Here's where that big G picture works out. If you draw 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pints, we said that there were 2 C's in every pint. So I could do 7 times 2 to get 14 cups. Finally, 2.7 meters to kilometers. We'll go back up to my steps, start at my meters, and this time I'm going to the left, which means I'm going to divide by 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to divide by 1,000. So if I go to 2.7 divided by 1,000, I move that decimal however many zeros there are. 1, 2, 3 to the left, and your answer is 0.0027 kilometers.